What's up, guys? It's your boy DyloPillow. Today I have Dende joining me, and we're going to be doing a little conversation about mental health. But first, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello. I'm Dende. I'm a singer, rapper, producer, instrumentalist, Twitter troll, um, all the above.
And Dende dropped his album, A Happy Man, in May, which you see in the background of his video. And it's one of my favorite albums of the year. And
Appreciate it.
a lot of the topical focus revolves around mental health. So I thought this was a good opportunity to like connect the art, with an important conversation. So
Sometimes I cry when I just can't seem to find a distraction from my mind.
first, I wanted to ask, like, what is your general viewpoint on like how mental health is talked about within music?
Honestly, it really depends on what type of music it is because a lot of rap isn't really about the most mentally stimulating things or about the most like mentally positive things.
Yeah.
But then you'll hear other music, like usually like singing stuff where there's like people that actually talk about their problems or like use it to vent. Like that's what I do. I use my music to vent. Um, I think we're getting to a place where people are starting to like actually tell their story more in music and like
Yeah.
help others in that way, even though maybe they don't intend to do that. Like for example, Saba with Care for Me. Um,
Right.
yeah, like I feel like a lot more people are actually starting to talk about stuff, even if they're not directly saying, "Hey, mental health is important" in a song. Like they're still kind of touching on mental health.
Yeah, definitely. I see what you're saying. It's becoming more normal to actually like be able to express that within your music, and I think a lot of artists do use their music to vent, like you said. So I think that's becoming more like common, I guess. So what does like the album "A Happy Man" mean to you?
Me personally, being the person that I am on the internet and in real life, I'm always super happy, outwardly happy, like making jokes the whole time, laughing. Um, and I'm always the first person that people come to when they're having an issue. But I'm not very good at letting it be known that I'm not always that person. I am a happy person, but when you're a happy person, it comes with a lot of negativity and bad thoughts. Like all the time, it's not a joke. Everything isn't always great. Everything isn't always fun. So I kind of tried to portray that in this project because there's songs about love. There's songs about um, there's songs about like my grand, like literally the first song on the project called "A Happy Man." The very beginning of it is about how right before I dropped my first album, one of my grandfathers died. And then right before I dropped my second album, another one of my grandfathers died. And it kind of made me feel, and this sounds dumb, but it made me feel like there was something that I was doing that was maybe causing that to happen. Like
Yeah.
it was just like maybe I don't need to be putting stuff out if every time I put something out, somebody close to me dies. And that doesn't make any fucking sense when you say it out loud, but that was really where my head was. So I had to put that into a song to get that out of my head. Um, really, a happy man was showing like the happiness, the like the songs like I Smile when I'm talking about everything that makes me happy or makes me smile. But then it also shows like it's a venting session for me to talk about every other thing that like doesn't make me so happy.
Yeah, definitely. I could definitely hear that within the album.
2 weeks before Dark Matters when my granddaddy died. A week before I dropped me was when my other one flied. Up to heaven or wherever we go when we not alive. It seems somebody taking people from me just to test the drive.
There's like several different kind of things about you that made you feel different ways, and stuff. So I wanted to ask you a few questions about them because like I think different groups of people can hear something they need to hear from each of those. So
Mhm.
first one, like as a man, like have you ever felt uncomfortable like sharing how you feel? I mean, I'm sure that you have, but like what has that been like for you?
When I was growing up, it was in a way that I felt like I couldn't really share how I felt about anything. Like, um, so that's actually why I started writing. At first I started writing poems. It was kind of this whole you're a guy and then you're black. You're not supposed to have emotions. You're not supposed to portray them for sure. So really I wouldn't talk to anybody about anything and I would just write it down and that was how I got it out of my head. I really do feel like society still to this day is getting a whole lot better and we're actually making it a little bit more acceptable for guys to have feelings. It did kind of feel like you're not supposed to feel anything, or and definitely not tell anybody about it as a guy
Yeah.
when I was growing up, because like I feel like women could do that, and women have a whole lot of other hardships that they have to deal with, but they were allowed to like portray their feelings and talk about it. And then when a guy does, it's like either laughed at or not taken seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely relatable for a lot of guys. Like, it's definitely getting better, like you said, but I'm sure we've all been in a moment where, like, damn, like, I'm going through a lot right now, but I feel like I don't want to act like I need help or anything like that. Bouncing off something you said within that, like, I've been told that, like, within, like, the Black community, it's a lot harder to talk about mental health, even, with being a guy as well. Like, what is your viewpoint on that?
I hear all the time, and I don't hear this much, but I used to hear all the time that therapy is white people shit, and that's really bad. Like that's like dumb. That's really dumb. That's a really stupid way to think. And it really is how a lot of people think. Like mental health wasn't, and to this day, I still don't think it really is taken that seriously in the Black community, and it needs to be. You could be feeling a certain type of way, and because you're supposed to be able to just suck it up and move on with your life, people don't take it very seriously, especially in a Black household. Like, for example, if you're growing up in a household with Black parents and you, even though they provide everything for you, you still may feel depressed about something completely different. And if you even try to speak up about that, sometimes you'll hear, what do you have to be sad about? And that's really dismissive, and it's detrimental to anybody's mental health, especially a child.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard, but like I said before, I do think it's getting a lot better. Like people like Charlamagne God going on his radio show every day and talking about mental health in the Black community. It helps, even though he's a crazy person. It does help when Black men and Black women are talking about mental health in the Black community, because we do need to take it seriously, because it's a serious issue and it shouldn't be brushed off as white people shit. I think everybody needs to go to therapy. I really do, wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I mean, I see that for sure. Like, what do you think is something that needs to change or needs to happen? Like, how do you think that might shift?
Honestly, I think it needs to be cool. That's it. Like, the only way that people accept things now is if it's cool. So if it's cool to take care of your mental health, then people are going to hop on the train of being like, okay, maybe I should address this thing that happened to me when I was 12. Maybe I should like talk to somebody about how I hate everything around me and I hate everybody in my life. Maybe like, because a lot of people walk around every day and they don't address any of that stuff. I think somebody just needs to make it cool. I think it needs to join into pop culture to be, hey, it's cool to take care of your brain. Like people work out, you need to go take care of your brain, bro. Like take care of your body, take care of your brain, 100%.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I think there's ways that could be worked into like pop culture as well, whether it's like having some figure, some Black figure doing that, or making an example. And I mean, you mentioned like Charlamagne talking about it, but like, it's hard with it just being maybe one person at a time. But like if it could become more of a trend, that could, I mean, definitely be beneficial. And I think it's something that should be pursued.
Wait for me, change coming soon. Hope I ain't too late, and this is fake of me and you.
So you also mentioned in the album how you came out as bi, and like how hard was it for you to share that side of you with the world?
By the time I put it in the project, I had already said it. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't that hard. It wasn't like everybody that heard the project already knew, right. But it wasn't as hard as it was for the initial me doing that. It wasn't as hard for me to come out and say it out loud as it was for me to come out and say that to myself in the first place, because it was a very long time before I was even able to have that conversation with myself. I would say one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life, but putting it in a song wasn't very hard, because like that's how I let things out and that's how I let stuff go. So that was actually the easiest part of it, was being able to talk about it in my music.
Yeah, and I mean, not that you like have to talk about this, but like, what was it like when you initially had to like share that with the world, like even not within a song?
It was surprisingly positive. I think it's because I said it in 2021. It was surprising me like extremely positive. And the thing was, I did it. The way I did it too was I got drunk as fuck on like a Tuesday night, and I was like, I think I'm gonna just tell everybody right now because I'm not gonna fucking do it any other way. And it really wasn't like me thinking I have to tell the world that because people care.
Right.
It was like I have to get this off of my chest because I try to be the most transparent person I possibly can be because I kind of don't want anybody around me that isn't going to like me for me. So if you don't know who I am fully and you're rocking with me, and then you do know who I am fully and you're not rocking with me, then that's fine with me. But I need you to know who I am completely. So I got drunk as shit on like a Tuesday night, and I just tweeted this long ass message about how I was bi. I always have been. If anybody, friends, family, followers didn't want to be in my life anymore, that's 100% fine with me. Because I don't give a shit, which I do give a shit, but I had to like, that's just how I talk. Pretty positive, which is ridiculous because it like went viral that night. It was like 11 o'clock at night and it like went viral, which was ridiculous. I was like, this isn't even like a thing. This was like just a drunk tweet. Like I didn't really want that, but it was like a whole lot of positivity, and I did lose followers, but I also gained a bunch of people that like already kind of rocked with me, being like, oh, okay, now we see who you are, and like we really fuck with that. So that one wasn't really a bad experience.
I mean, I think that's good for other people to hear, you know, if they need to hear that, you know, because I think it is becoming much more positive and within, you know, social media and just all communities, just be accepting of that, because that took a while to get there, unfortunately. So another topic you touched on a little bit is like, you know, as a creative, you know, it's hard to like make money. There's a lot of pressure on you for money. How does that make you feel, like the pressures that you have to just like kind of, you know, make it in the world? There's like, you know, money is such a common thing that you like have to have, you know?
It makes it kind of hard and sometimes not fun because most people that do make music, that love music, aren't in it to make money in the first place. So when it's like, I have to make money to even be doing this,
Yeah.
it kind of takes the fun out of it sometimes. But I mean, I feel like that's a test. Like when you're at that point where you're like, people are rocking with this, but I still don't have any money, but they're rocking with this. Like, do I keep on going and still not have any money, or just stop this and go get a real job? And like, I feel like that's a test. It is really hard at times because I'll get fucking frustrated. I get sad. I get depressed. But I do take it as a test. I take a whole lot of things in life as a test. And I think that making money as opposed to pursuing my dream is a really big one. And that's a hurdle you have to jump over. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job at it right now. But we'll see where we go from here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's definitely really tough. Like, I dropped out of college to pursue, like, doing YouTube and stuff. And, like, yeah, the money's not really coming in, like, right away or anything. But, like, I believe in what I'm doing. And I think that, you know, I'm always reminded that, like, I think it'll come in eventually. Like, once enough people are, like, really supporting you, then it'll just be there. And I don't think it's something I want to worry about too much. But, unfortunately, it is something that comes up often.
I'm at the bottom of this bottle. My problems, I forgot them. But can I just be honest?
So kind of moving in a different direction, like what, you know, since you've dealt with mental health and thought about this a lot, like what are some coping methods that you might recommend to people that you found out about like over the years?
I'm going to do some that I don't recommend first.
I was going to ask that anyway. So yeah, go ahead.
My original coping mechanism was I used to cut myself, which didn't do that for too long because it wasn't really my thing. That sounds like a weird sentence, but it wasn't my thing. Everybody has a different type of self-harm. The one that I really stuck with was drugs and alcohol. And I was eventually able to get rid of the drugs part, but the alcohol one is still kind of like an everyday thing. I'm not even like at this point needing to get drunk to not have to deal with life anymore. I just kind of drink just because it's a habit that I formed starting at like 14. So I really don't recommend finding stuff like that to cope or to just like kind of get through your day if you're having a bad one. The things that I actually really do work now are to write, are to lay down and just listen to music, or to just isolate myself from everybody and everything, like turn my phone off and just go do something else that has nothing to do with the outside world. I was going on walks. I don't really do that anymore. It's hot as fuck in Texas. I'll go work out when I'm frustrated.
Yeah, I think those are all great because I do that as well. Like when I'm, feeling down or something like that, I like to turn off my phone. I think not enough people are able to do that because, there's addiction to phones and stuff that is really bad for your mental health. But yeah,
100%.
turning it off, just taking a break and living with yourself is going to help you like handle a lot more of your problems and stuff. I definitely recommend walking as well. I know, yeah, it's definitely hot as shit out sometimes, but if you can get out there, the sunlight's great.
I also, bro, I'll go and like clean. Like the other day, I I went to my grandma's house because she asked me to move something in her deck, like in her back deck. And then I just started cleaning. I was not having a good day. And I just started cleaning her house. I stayed over for like 2 hours just cleaning her house. She didn't even ask me to do that. She just wanted me to move one thing. And I was like, I just stood over, I just stayed, started cleaning everything. I was like, this is helping me a lot. Cause it's like busy work. It's like getting your mind off of everything. You don't have to think about that. You're just thinking about this one thing that you're getting a task done.
Yeah.
So if you can get a task done, it kind of makes you feel better about other things. And that's for me. I don't know if that works for everyone, but like if you like just focus on getting one thing done, then sometimes it'll get you out of that mindset you're in.
Focus on your happiness, the things that always just make you smile. Searching for a reason to keep breathing, just stick around for
I got one last question for you. It's kind of like pretty open-ended. I don't know, there's not really a specific answer, but like, what does happiness look like to you?
Happiness to me, I would say it looks like freedom. Whether it be freedom to express yourself, financial freedom, any and all form of freedom, just like being able to do and say whatever you want, and it's okay as long as you're not hurting anybody. Just being able to like just live your life without having to worry about like menial things. That's kind of what happiness is to me.
Yeah. And do you think there's like a way to achieve that, or what path do you see, that you might take to achieve that?
Blow up and get rid of the internet. Very serious. Get rid of all social media.
I mean, I agree. I have plenty of issues with social media. Like taking time off is great and stuff, and I feel better doing that. But unfortunately, also as creatives, we have to rely on it as well to get to the point we want to be. So it's just a really, interesting struggle.
That's why I said blow up first, because once you blow up, you could disappear like Frank.
Yeah, or Kendrick.
You don't gotta use your phone.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, like, that's kind of an interesting goal because like it involves two opposite things. Like you're going for something, but then you get rid of it. So it's definitely hard to do, and I think a lot of people don't really think about how to achieve happiness enough sometimes, because like they'll just be like, oh, I'm happy like right now. But I think that like a lot of times we get stuck in like these little moments of happiness and like don't think about like the long-term like picture. So I think that is definitely helpful to be able to think about. All right, that's all I got. If there's anything you want to add, feel free.
Yeah, go stream my album A Happy Man on all streaming services right now.
I'll link that in the description.
Follow me on Instagram at I am Dende. Follow me on Twitter if you want to have a lot more fun. Dende is me. If you don't remember either of those, go to my website, imdende.com.
All right.
All that.
Cool. I'll link all that in the description as well. Thank you for coming on, man. I thought we had a good conversation here, and hopefully, anybody listening can get some, something beneficial from it.
For sure. Appreciate you for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem. See you guys in the next one. Peace.